your rating agency to tell them that you reduced 2 mills when you have yet to continue your street maintenance program and you have not yet implemented your capital improvement program, which currently stands, you've got about $31 million in the next 5 years. It's going to be a tricky message to explain why you're reducing mills at the same time you have all of these deferrals. And the rest is a policy decision. We've presented this over and over and over and over.
All right, well, I've got 2 more questions, and then I'll let other individuals talk about this. But as I said, I ran the numbers, and I ran them pretty aggressively. And by my analysis, it shows that by 2018, which is the year that I have both numbers for both budgets, we're looking at as a percent of expenses with a 2 mil decrease that we have a 23.35% percentage of fund reserves as a percentage of expenses. The analysis that we were given a week and a half ago stated that we would be closer to 15%.
And I stand by it.
And I do not understand how that could possibly be, because I don't see how a $300,000 lowering of the mill levy would result in a $1.28 million impact on the budget.
Because
on the mill reserves.
I'm not following that.
On the fund reserves. I mean, you're saying that...
Because okay. So the 2 mills is, I said in my analysis, it was the only variable I changed was the property tax revenue portion, which is shown in your budget book.
Yes.
Only the very first line on page 37. So that is the only number in the out years that I reduced.
Which is what I did too.
Okay. So the difference is beginning fund balance, less revenues, plus, I mean, there's thousands of numbers in these spreadsheets and hundreds of formulas, and it's the work of an army of people, supervisors, managers, department heads, administrative staff, and a high-performance accounting team, review by the city administrator, discussion with the management analyst, and discussion with the financial advisor and the auditors. 7 months to make these numbers. I don't know what else to say. There's assumptions with every one of these numbers on page 37 and 38 in the general fund has an assumption in it, or many assumptions in it.
So
every one of them.
There's a magnifying effect on a
absolutely.
Decrease. In what way? What other line items are changing other
everything? You can go down. You can go down line by line by line. All of these numbers are different. There's assumptions for franchise fees. Do they go up? Do they go down? It's weather-based. There are the cable television. I can show you the trend is down. I can show you the telephone franchise fee is down. I can tell you the natural gas is up just a little. City and county sales tax, city and county use tax, those are all up, down. We monitor those monthly. But it's a 2-month lag. So I'm working with May revenues. That's the best I can do is May. I review those monthly. That's why we monitor, evaluate, and make adjustments as needed. And that was even before we did priority-based budgeting. There's assumptions on court revenues. There's assumptions on building activity.
That has nothing to do with property tax.
Yeah.
But that's the difference when revenues go. You asked what was the impact.
Can I interject something here, please? Thank you. And Steve, I've been exactly where you're sitting. And honestly, I can say that I didn't go to this level of effort or bring this kind of level of effort to a council meeting like this before. I can say that when I was sitting in the back row with Jerry, you there, Jerry?
Hello.
Okay. When I was sitting in the back row with Jerry and some other people, I was bringing up questions and I was writing my council members. I know that my first year on the council, I debated the merits of getting the police what they wanted, maybe at the expense of other departments. But I think that all of us learn the longer that we're on the governing body that we've got professionals working for us. Laura, you've been finance director here for how long?
Since 2005, and I was working on the budget since probably 2000.
Okay. We switched last year, and I realized this was before you were brought on board as a council member, and Cory wasn't a member at that point either. Dave Dravetta was sitting in this chair, and, but we made the decision to go to priority-based budgeting while a previous council was set. But this was at the bidding of our city administrator, with the blessing of our finance director, and with a certain and specific amount of information from Benjamin Hart, who works with Allen, Gibbs, and Halleck. They are our auditing firm, and Benjamin Hart comes from this style of budgeting process. First as CFO of Unified Wyandotte County, and then as the finance director, although that's not the title that they use, in Olathe, Kansas, and that was over a course of about 13 years. So Laura and her team, in conjunction with the other department directors and city administrator, worked on this budget, and we all had input, and we've made adjustments from last year to this year, and we were talking about budget-related issues as early as April this year, and the 2 mil decrease was brought up at the very last item, at the very last meeting.
Yes, it was.
Before this one. Now, since then, you've produced spreadsheets and charts that nobody on the governing body had seen before today, and I'm guessing staff hadn't seen before this evening. But they've been working on this for a long time with a lot more people that were involved. So, all that being said,
and I have
the way that we're going about it, let's you can continue your line of questioning here, but let's give a little bit of pay a little bit of attention and provide a little bit of courtesy to people that have worked on this all year long, in the way that you approach the matter with.
And certainly, I'm not, this is not discourteous. I've got questions, and the questions I'm asking, I think, are valid questions. And these have nothing to do with the existing financial management of our operating budget as it stands today, and even into next year's projections. I'm looking at the projections for 2018, and what I'm being told is that those projections, if a 2 mil decrease, $272,000 in the initial year, $365,000 on just the raw tax numbers on year number 5, is implemented, that it would result in a $1.2 million decrease in our available funds. I do not see how the direct result of a $360,000 decrease in revenues from just that one line item would result in a $1.2 million decrease in our available funds. That's the question I have, because that was what was told to me. And I need to know because that's what 15% fund balance is. And I was told in 2019 we would have a 15% fund balance. So that's my question. My question is very simple. How would that 2 mil decrease translate into a $1.2 million hit on our fund balances?
I've got access to the...
Because the numbers don't seem...
I've got access to the analysis. I'm not seeing a $1.2 million...
That's what a 15% fund balance would be in 2019.
Well, that I can understand.
And
that was not what was...
I did the calculation, I'm sorry. That when someone told me that we're going to have a 15% fund balance in 2019, and I look at the projected fund balance in 2019 without the 2 mil levy decrease, and you put in, an assumption that there's going to be a 15% fund balance at the end of 2019, that's what I come up with. I come up with a $1.2 million hit. And how does that happen when you're decreasing mills $360,000 on the 5th year?
Because it's cumulative.
Right.
No, it's not cumulative. That is cumulative. That is a 5%
Hold on.
increase.
This is what I was talking about
Okay.
courtesy.
All right.
She said it's cumulative, and you're being argumentative, and if you want to come back and ask her to explain why it's cumulative, you can do that. But let's, staff's not going to badger you, you're an elected official. But I would ask that we're not badgering staff either.
Okay.